Well, hello there, this is Tamil, and today I will just talk about dynamic poses. How do you get better at them, little tips and tricks in here and there, and there's going to be a written article in the description. Let me know what you think, and let's just get started. A cool thing you can do to make your poses much cooler is gonna be drawing better, but I'm just kidding, is using perspective. We have this 3D model from Crypto Studio Paint. You have normal perspective and it looks pretty okay. If you have the pose, you can use a scroll on your mouse. So if I do lower, now it's going to use a distort perspective. So things that are further, they're going to be smaller, and things that are closer, they're going to be much, much bigger. And so that's why we can finally get that perfect shot. I checked other social media. That's where the actual money is. Don't be a lawyer, become a feed artist. Don't tell your parents though. But it actually works if you have an action pack. So let's say if you have a character and they're really going into the camera and they're going to be like punching you or showing you a finger just like this, making like a JoJo reference or whatever it might be. Using this perspective is going to be helpful, and you can achieve this effect not just drawing this from a 3D model. Yeah, she has 3 fingers, that's all right. The point is that if you see this person on the left, you can tell that they're kind of like normal pose, they're holding it, they're gonna take over your house, your empire and all that. But over here, that's gonna be 5 empires or 10 homes or 20 people captured. Like, this is gonna be the magician who's gonna destroy your entire farm. And the reason being is because we put the camera just a little bit on top, and so it looks down from the person, and we enlarged the hand. So the hand is gonna be this big, so you can see my unwashed dirty hand right there, and all the things that are on the back, they're going to be smaller. So the other hand, the other arm is going to be the teeny tiny chicken leg arm. And you can see that it just gives more epicness to this. And a lot of times when I was taught how to draw humans and all that stuff and anatomy, I was always told, like, you have to start with the box go like this, and then you have like all this 3-dimensional stuff. You have to do the shoulder, and then it becomes a cylinder, and the cylinder on top of the cylinder, you have to draw muscles. And that's how we draw humans, which is, I think, is great for learning and if you're trying to get like the anatomy right. But if you're just starting out, I think it's really cool to get with like gestures and stuff like that. So the first thing that I usually do if I have a pose, I usually start with line of action. So you can see that I'm going to be going all the way just like that, and this will give me a starting point. I think you can go from dynamic to more stiff and add details and things like that, but you can never go the other way. You can't go from very, very stiff to very, very dynamic. And you can see that I'm not even worried about all the details or getting the muscles right, because I think that's not the point. You want to just kind of convey the emotion, and I really think you should like watch out for animation or TV shows. They're doing like a really great job with that. Like they really go and exaggerate their poses so much. And I think that's what I wish I was doing when I was learning art and I was learning, how to draw. And even the ball, like it could be just like a circle, but also can be a little oval, because you can see it in motion, and that way we can add a little bit more feeling to it. And you can see that our character is already kind of coming together. And I think this is a lot more digestible and cooler than if I was, sitting here and trying to draw every single like detail and muscle and, all that stuff. And after this, like after I'm done with this, I can go back and like lower the opacity and obviously get a reference and try to see, oh, there's going to be, a muscle here, shoulder muscle here. You can keep adding this, like it's not a big deal. You're gonna be able to find this with practice, of course. And I think that's the coolest part. I think this is awesome, but by the way, I love this. It's gonna be like, oh, oh, I'm about to hit this ball. I'm about to hit this ball. Let's go. And also, you can see I made a mistake. It kind of is unbalanced, and I wanted to even give it more dynamic feel. Boom. Like you can see that now it feels a little bit more alive, because you can see that he's in motion. Because a regular person, if he's standing like this, he's not going to be able to hold it for a long time. A cool thing to keep in mind is that anatomy is probably not the most important part, but it's also good to know proportions. And I think I don't want to make this tutorial too long, but proportions can be very crucial when you're doing gestures. And I will do a very simple demonstration. I'll try to do it from memory, which is a really terrible idea. You shouldn't be doing that. But I usually go for, let's say I have this athletic person, and I will have my kind of like bottom half somewhere here, and this is going to be my top half, so it's going to connect somewhere here, and there's going to be a head, right? And you can see that there's going to be the shoulders, and usually right here, the elbows, they're going to be somewhere in this position. So this is going to be the elbows, and the arm is pretty much like kind of like same size here. So I'll draw like that, and notice that I'm also drawing curves. So you can see if you like really stretch your muscle and like do it like really strong, you can see that there's like this bump. But on the other side, it's like kind of flat, and that's what we want in our gestures, is the distinction between really, really flat surfaces and really curved surfaces. And this is really important for when we draw legs, especially. So if I'm gonna get to my legs today, I'm really into like the Sailor Moon kind of legs, which is like really too long. But if we draw legs, which I think I usually make them too short, and then I try to train myself like making them too long, and not a good look, to be honest. But let's say these are the legs. So our also chest is gonna be right here, because it's kind of like the head is kind of the same size, and this is gonna be the end of the chest approximately, of course, and this is gonna be our belly. And so in half of this, like somewhere in between, there's going to be our knees. And so usually the outer part is a little bit more straight, but the inner part and the calves, depends on the angle you're drawing, it's going to be like more like that. And our parts right here. And so for our leg, if you look at its side view, you can see that there's going to be this curve in the front, and then there's going to be a straight line here, and then there's going to be a curve over here, and kind of a knee, and then it's going to be straight over here. So as you can see, our body has this way of having anatomy that is very dynamic. Even if it's a stiff pose, even if the person is just standing, it's really not you can add more to it. And same goes for our back. So this is going to be our chest. There's going to be the little curve over here, and then it's going to be straight, and then there's going to be curve over here, and then a little butt area, and then this can be straight over here. And it really depends on the person, if they're like working out a lot, or they're just me who don't work out a lot. And we can also do the same for our arms. So there's going to be a little bump over here, and then it's going to be a little curve over here, a little bit straight, a little bit straight. And this is really simplification, especially if you're drawing figure studies that are like kind of like 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You don't really want to get too much hang up on like little details. And you should know what I'm gonna say next. Don't use 3D models. I beg you, please don't use them for studying. They're good when you already know stuff, and one of the main reasons is because when you have 3D models, they don't twist the way humans' body twist. They only twist as much as it allows the program to twist. And I think it's really important that, we have, even my hand, right? I can twist this all the way right here. You can see this, like all the way, every single muscle, every single bone, it's gonna twist. But in here, to get this twist properly that looks the same, it's almost impossible. And that's just the arm. And that also goes from torso, my neck, right? And there's like so many stretches, and like my muscles will tense up and become bigger and smaller. And so one of the things that I want you to keep in mind is that you want to study from life, you want to study from photos. When you're starting out, please don't use 3D models. And the same goes for that little wooden weird pose that your mom bought on Christmas. Don't use that. It's not really good for studying. And it's not even really good for posing either. And with that portion out of the way, you can actually ask me, well, where do I find pictures and how do you draw all those things? So I'm going to have a little time lapse of me drawing things, and I'm going to be using Quick Poses. Quick Poses is a really cool website that I've been using when I was starting out, and it's completely free. You don't have to pay for it. I really like using it, and I think it's really good starting point if you've never done any gesture drawings and you just want to get better. And so I will tell you that you can use Quick Poses. You can go on Pinterest if you say reference pack or reference figure drawing. That word will come up a lot, figure drawing or dynamic poses. Then you can, find pictures of ballerinas or people dancing or videos of people fighting, things that are moving. That will help you a lot to develop your skills and seeing how gesture works and all that good stuff. So I'll remind you that you can also time yourself. Like, I really used to make a lot of mistakes because I would be sitting there for hours working on one drawing, or not even knowing what to do with it anymore. Like, I would add details and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, what what do I do now? And I wouldn't know what to do. And one of the things I've learned, and I should encourage you to do the same, shorten your time drawing. And the Quick Poses website lets you pick how many seconds you have. And I think a sweet spot for me is like a minute and a half. Do 30-second first. It's not gonna look good, but that's not the point. You want to stop worrying about details, and you wanna, not draw muscles. You wanna focus on the gesture. Even if it's stick figures, that's fine. Just look at joints and try to see how flowy they are, and don't use straight lines. That's my main advice. Don't use straight lines. And after you have like a feel for it just a little bit, you can move to like 1 minute, and then you do 2 minute, and then you do 5 minute poses. And I think once it hits like 5, after that it becomes more of an actual drawing and not just figure drawing practice. So whatever is under 5 or 3 minutes, that's like a really good start. Sometimes I give feedback to people for a small price, but usually I don't have that many students, to be honest, so it's not like a really huge thing. But if you ever want to reach out, like, let me know on email or something like that, on Instagram. Don't overwhelm yourself. You can do 20 a day or 50 a day, or even 5 is fine. As long as you do them, it's great. And with time, it will show like progress. You will definitely see progress in that. And I think that's like the most important part, is that after months, like 3 months, 4 months, look at your first ones, look at your like super early ones, and see if you made any like big mistakes or if you've improved. And in my opinion, no matter what level you are, it doesn't matter how far you've come, you will see improvement if you just keep drawing figure studies for all this time. You will improve. So don't feel like it's all for nothing. Don't feel like you're not doing enough, because we all do. Let me know if you have any questions. What kind of day are you having? Like, let me know in the comment section. Literally just like write your day. I don't mind reading that. If it's like a nice day, even if it's a bad day, I will read it. I'll probably not have time to reply to every single one of them. But write what's up. How you doing? Hopefully this video was useful, and I really hope that you learned something. And thank you for watching, and happy painting.